Hello, welcome to the stream. Um, really should make these regular and post about them ahead of time, but sure, if you're in the chat, say hello. On this installment, I guess, we're going to be looking at Next 13. It's been... What's the Barenaked Ladies song? It's been 3 weeks? Yes, but it's been about a week and a bit since Next.js 13 came out. Finally getting a chance to kind of play about with it. I've got a project idea in place using GitHub's API that I can hopefully like fetch my projects. And I think that the core of this is going to be looking at how the new routing works in Next.js and this whole like apps folder where you can like build components together. So we'll dig into that and kind of play about it and see how it's going. If you see me looking over the side, just keeping an eye on things. Again, if you're in the chat, say hello. Keeps me going when I get stuck or have issues, and if you can hear me okay and all that kind of shit, let me know the crack, what's going on. Yeah, so we're just kind of getting started here. We've got a pre-gin, and then we'll be getting cracked into the red wine as usual. Sober October is over, so we're back on it. I'm trying to think, we get Restream up, I can see what's actually going on. So let's keep going. So yeah, I watched the Vercel. I guess I'm not gonna play music. I watched the Vercel keynote, like everyone else did, and we were kind of like pumped about like this new framework. It's gonna be awesome. It felt like I was watching an Apple keynote. I don't know if they're doing that as like a joke or a parody, or they generally are like going in that kind of visual direction of how like things should be done or not be done. You see, I'm just checking all my dashboards and everything that's going on. I can see I am live in places, which is good. It's been a while, and I'm still like setting everything up and trying to get everything going. I can see anyway that the video seems to be good. It's not lagging too much. My goal is to keep adding to this as and when I care. We got the studio going, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of one of the big advancements we got going on at the minute. We got the on air sign, which I think I'm pointing to. Like, I never really look at myself and look at the screen. I'm gonna probably kill the shit in this if I open up YouTube. But yeah, cool. So yeah, so as I say, we're doing Next.js 13. So let's jump in. I'm gonna hit the right key. Yes. Okay, cool. So you can see the screen. So again, for anyone who jumps in, at the minute we're going to be looking at, well, obviously Next.js 13, because we got the landing page open here. I think I have that. I think I have the app running already, don't I? No. So npm. How small is my terminal? Bump this up a little bit more. Clear, snap this window, and go npm run. What are the commands do we get that we can run? So we get a div, a build, and a lint. So we're going to do npm run dev, and that's going to start up our Next.js server. Localhost 3000, which I had an example up before. I was playing about with this. So we have it running, and then we have VS Code running. So that, I guess let's take a look at the folder structure to see what we're working with. I think I used Next.js once in a project. Actually, yeah, before we get fully kicked in, we gotta get our wine ASMR on. have a... I'm not going to be able to pronounce it because I'm dyslexic as fuck, but Chateau La Tuileries Graves, which I'm assuming is just French for grapes. It's the Merlot. We had a costume party for Halloween, and one of the guests brought me, well, actually 2 guests brought me a bottle of red wine, so they know me well, and they'll keep this funded. That'll do another 2 streams at the least, I would say, at this point. So we got our wine poured. We're going to be looking at Next. So I think I've used Next once before, and it was a very kind of brief, like I want to just throw a project out the window just to see, you know, how it worked, what it was all kind of about. So I don't know the structure of it very well. I know the principle of like a Next.js application and what it is and what it's for. So I guess if we dig into the folder structure first, which is always really small in my VS Code. I don't use VS Code day to day. I use WebStorm. I'm trying to give VS Code a chance and like let it, you know, be the thing that it should be. I like WebStorm. I used IntelliJ, God, at least 7 or 8 years ago, and I had it like set up to like this really, really good key binding muscle memory focus of how I can use it. Then I moved to WebStorm because, you know, it was an easy shift. I copied the key bindings. I think I even edited some of the key bindings to how I set things up. And when I like moved companies, I started using WebStorm because I knew what I was using, and I was just like, well, it makes sense to stick with WebStorm because I know I can move quickly in it. I would say I use 10% of the features of WebStorm, or potentially I'm using a lot more of the features. I just don't know I'm using them because it does a lot of things for you. Like breaking off in their rant here that we're not even kind of on. Like VS Code is not an IDE. VS Code is a text editor with a file explorer. You can make it an IDE by adding plugins and adding tools and stuff on top of it, which is great, and it's, you know, what everyone uses, but you have to put that effort in to start. Out of the box, you don't get what you need to do to be an efficient, you know, fast developer. Some people might say, well, it's free, you get what you pay for, but like if there's a consensus of like, as a JavaScript developer, I need to use these plugins and these tools, then there should be some sort of option when you like set it up or open a project that says like, you know, use these defaults. Like WebStorm is focused over, like, it knows what you're doing, it knows what you're building, and it knows the purpose of why you're running that application, so it can do that stuff for you. Whereas I think VS Code is great for those elite coders who spend a lot of time building things and trying things and doing things. Whereas, you know, I don't have the time to configure an IDE for side projects. I don't have I do have the money, but I don't have the want and the carefreeness to kind of spend money on the side just to do side projects like this. So I struggle with VS Code. I'm starting to create the key bindings that I know and I'm used to. I think that's getting better, but, you know, when I make the code bigger, I would expect the file explorer to get bigger too. I don't know, maybe I'm expecting a lot of the editor. So yeah, that's my rant. So we got Next 13, so we have a couple of different folders here. Yeah, you should be able to see them okay. A Republic, which I assume is where like our built code goes. We have a pages directory with an API. It has a hello.ts file. That has a data type, which has a name. And then we have a handler function. So I'm assuming pages is our API there. Yeah, Next.js API routes. And then we have this app folder, and I think they've shifted from pages to this app folder structure. And I think this is potentially like the route that they're looking to go down, and then you create your like nested routing from this. I do have the docs open. I followed some of the steps, but we're like, I don't want to read the docs. No one reads the docs. I'm probably gonna have to, because I don't know a lot of this shit, but we can probably figure this stuff out. So we have a global CSS. I really need to fix my theme. What was it? Command Shift P for the palette. Let's see, preferences, color theme. I have in this Retrowave Junkie. I think it's Synthwave 84 that I liked. Yeah, that's a bit brighter and nicer. So we have our global CSS file. We have a head.txt. What am I talking about here? This seems to be like our title. So if I say hello drunk world, so world, save this. Is that going to refresh? Okay, I have a manual refresh there. I don't know if hot module reloading doesn't work on this page or not. I'm not too sure. Then we have a layout. Text and children. The head, I think, will be injected based on this. Yeah, so we have our head when we have our body with our children. So I'm assuming this gets rendered out for every page. The page module CSS file, so it's saying use CSS modules out of the box, which isn't my cup of tea. Other people use it. I'm more of a style components kind of guy, which I'll probably end up importing into this project at some point. If it works with 13, I'm not too sure. Then we have a page, and this I'm assuming is the main page. If I change this to hello drunk world, and I can already not type. Okay, so that's kind of cool. We got hot module reloading, a lot updated as I was typing. Hello drunk world to next. Okay, that kind of works well. I like how that came out. So we can probably get rid of all this crap. I don't want the footer and all these things. The footer's, I get to scroll to see the footer. So we're going to get rid of all this stuff and start building out what we want. Okay, so we need to keep this main tag. Configure formatter. Oh, I thought I could just auto format the code, so let's try and configure formatter. Prettier. Do we go prettier or do we go TypeScript and JavaScript language features? We'll go prettier because I'm assuming that has a lot of defaults. So if I like tab this out, yeah, okay, that's going to format it. It's 2 spaces. I prefer 4. Is there an ESLint config I can change in here? ESLint extends that. ESLint. You know what? We're on a narrow screen. We'll stick with 2 spaces for now. So we save this file. That doesn't auto hot reload for some reason. Am I not running this correctly? If I kill this and rerun the dev server, this could be just issues with Next 16, or it could be issues with my environment. So we'll go back in here and we'll say hello drunk world, save. That's not great. I have to refresh manually. We getting any errors in the console? Couldn't lose source master for some random Chrome plugin I have, but that's okay. I'll bump you up as well. So Right, we got our code, yeah, like we're gonna have to like do save and then refresh the page, and we're back to like our old ways of doing things, but sure, it's okay. So the main thing I wanted to do was try and kind of read from GitHub, like my repositories, and then have, you know, tiles to show each of the repositories. You click on that, it takes you to a page that shows information about the repository, but then that uses a whole like routing system. I know Theo from T3 did something similar, and like he hit a rate limit on it, so fingers crossed we don't hit the rate limit. If we do, we'll just return static data for a lot of the stuff. So I think I still have the Postman up from the last time we hit this, so yeah. We can do repos, we get 100 per page. If I click send, yep, it still works. Okay, so we got our data back. So we're going to be hitting this URL on our back end. So we'll grab that. How do we make a server-side request? Rendering fundamentals, maybe. And if you're in the chat, don't forget to say hello, say hi, like this on YouTube, follow, subscribe, I don't know, any of that kind of crap. I can't tell how many viewers we have because I don't manage my screens that well. We go channel dashboard. Yeah, I remember someone complaining about this before, where like the channel dashboard doesn't show the current video that's going live. You kind of have to just like go to your channel, and I think I count as a viewer. We got one watching. Okay, cool. So we got our rendering. I want to make this call on the server and then it render onto the client. So I want to like fetch the data from GitHub, render out cards maybe, and then so that's client, server components, blah blah blah. All components inside the app directory are React Server components by default. Okay, awesome. Including blah 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 blah, allowing you to automatically adapt server. So we don't have to do anything crazy yet. Allows you to do so server components allows you to do something better. Do we still use a use effect? Server components can fetch data. I remember seeing in their talk or someone talking about they had the whole use. Like if I just fetch inside of this function, is that gonna do it for me? Okay, right, data fetching. I probably should have read on. So we can skim through all this component level data fetching, fetch async components. Moving decisions at the top of the fetch API, make sure you use async await, automatic data fetch the request, YouTube in, static. Give me some code, examples, stream and suspense, next steps, data fetching. So, okay, so we just await, get data. That could work. So, that's a create a new function, so const get repos. This has to be async, doesn't it? Yeah, async our function. Yeah, so the thing I don't like about VS Code, the autocompletion is terrible. Async. I bet you I'm putting the async on the wrong side, aren't I? No, that's correct. Async. Yeah, so in here I'm going to say const res response. We could do the double await, I guess. So we check Postman again. This gives us an array of our data. So I'm going to do the double await. So we're going to say repos equals await in brackets await fetch this URL. That's the await for the fetch, and then JSON. So we could break this down a bit more readable. And let's say we're fetching this, and then we just return. So then we say return repos. Technically a redundant thing, we could return this, but I'm gonna log this out as well. Console.log repos. And that's probably going to log on the server, which will be different for a lot of people because we normally log on the browser. And then in here we can say, so this now has to be a async. So export default async function of home, and I'm going to say const repo list. We'll call things differently for God knows why. Await get repos, boom, and in here we're going to do pre code so we can log out our repos, repo list. So actually it's going to be json dot stringify repo list. Clean that up a bit. Thing doesn't hot reload, so I don't know. Oh, okay, that did hot reload. I just refreshed the page anyway. Okay, so we have that actually. Tip with JSON stringify, if you do null, and then we'll stick with 2 because we're coding into 2. Null is if you wanted to do like, I think it's a replacer, so you can like modify the JSON that you're stringifying. You might want to like combine keys, remove keys, do that kind of jazz. Remove functions or circular dependencies, potentially. And then the last parameter is your indentation. So save this, go back here. Is it gonna, oh, okay, cool. So it auto reloaded first. We got everything up. Cool, so we have our repo data and we get like a shitload of data. If it needs to be, we can cache that somewhere. Yeah, we probably should have used React Query to cache this for us because we're probably going to hit the API limit at some point. I don't know what that is, but we'll see. So based off this then, I want to create some like cards. So I've been playing about with this component alias random ali templating tool. I want something that's going to work with that dark background that we have. Oh, I went in the advanced filters, not random. So we're going to say new colors until we get something like that could work. Is that the background color? So we're going to create some cards. I guess we need to create CSS for this page that we could potentially pull in. So in here, we do a new page, and we're going to call this page.module. Is this the name of the page, or I'll select the language, CSS. Okay, fair enough. Let's create a scratch file probably. So new file, and we'll call this page.module.css. We have a page. Oh shit, we have the same file already. So, oh, okay, yeah, we have this already, so we can get rid of all this shit. We're going to say dot card background color, and we're going to grab this hex, put that in. That is the yellow. That is not the text color. So background color is that. Okay, we'll just actually grab that CSS. Okay, cool. And I guess in here then we're going to say get rid of that style, that image for now. We're going to say, right, we want to iterate over these and make them cards based off our data here. Each of these has a lot of information. I don't care about the owner so much. We have a ton of links, but there must be. So there's a full name, which is the user slash repo name. But I'm assuming there's also like the name of it. So we're gonna hit search. Okay, they do have a name. No, it has a name, but that has a full name. Oh, name, I missed it. That's right. So maybe we have a name for these. I wonder actually, could I copy this and create TypeScript types for it? And then I'll be able to know exactly what I'm doing. So JSON to TypeScript. So in here, we'll paste the JSON. Oh, God. It's a chunky boy, obviously, and there's a lot going on here. So license owner interface, which is root. Root is an array of root 2. So in here, we're going to close whatever I opened. We're going to create a new file, and we're going to say repos.types.ts. I'm going to paste this in, and we're going to rename root to repos, root 2 to repo. Okay, so now we can say as repo. No. I'm going to import it manually, so import repo from dot slash repo dot types, so it should be dot slash repo types. Yeah, we can cast as we grab it. So actually, yeah, I can tell this that I can say that this returns repo list. Is that where you put it? Alias interface, repos is not valid. Async function return. I have to say promise of return as. Yeah, okay, so now our repo list is a list of repos. So I then should be able to say repo list dot map repo return a div, and we're going to say it's a style or class name. Class name is styles dot, or is it style? Fuck VS Code. Fuck it. Yeah, it's class name. Ooh. Class name, and that's going to be styles dot. We'll go back to our page. It's going to be styles dot card. What the fuck are you complaining about? Oh, we haven't got a key attribute, so we shouldn't, but we'll use the index as our key. Index. Okay, so that's clean things up a bit. So we have a card in here. We're going to say we'll do everything as spans for now. It's not semantic, but it's okay. So then we'll say repo dot name for now. And this is going to reload. Oh, okay. So we're getting our repos and they're listing out as names. We need to style these out, obviously. So let's style it in the browser. Make more sense. This should really be a list, shouldn't it? So this should be UL inside of here. And then this is going to be LI. Okay, so then we have a bit more styles that we can work with, so we can then do a bit of CSS jiggery pokery. So first we do is list style none, padding 0, get rid of all that crap, and then I think we can use flexbox for this. So display flex align items. What do we get? Center. Kind of want like a rolling card solution. Let's see, CSS card. There's probably a CSS tricks for this. Or do we just do them list? We'll just do a list. We're not fucking about with too much shit. So display flex direction is column. Okay, that's cool. So we can grab that, go back to our styles, and that's on our UL. So will this apply? Because it's not being pulled in. So everything has to be a class name. Interesting. So this is list, and then we come back in here and we say class name is style dot list styles dot list. Cool. We're getting somewhere. We got some progress. And then I think our card, we want to say margin 5050. I have to do pixels on each one, don't I? It's not going to know what they are. And width, say 50%. What does that do? Oof, no. We'll style back in the browser because I'm going to hit my API limit. Inspect, and for each of our card styles, we're going to add padding of 10 pixels, border, dash radius. I'm not a designer, so don't give me shit. That'll do for now, but all we have is an image in there. I don't know where our text is going. We don't have like a max width or anything, do we? So we'll copy that before I forget and lose it. And list, we're going to go 90 VW. Okay. And what is our... We've got a min height. We got a min width on this somewhere. So yeah, we're gonna do width 90 VH. Hey Lightning, thanks for joining the chat. So we are taking a look at, I should probably bring up the main page again for reference. We're taking a look at Next.js version 13. So we're exploring building a project using the new version of the Next with like the new routing system. The minute I'm currently like wasting a lot of time fiddling about with CSS styles that probably don't need to be fiddled about with, but I might move on to it. But as a going first time viewer, hope you enjoy. So yeah, this list will do for now. There's a lot of shit going on here, but I think that'll do. Like I could get stuck into the weeds of CSS, and I'm not a CSS person. So okay, I'll keep that going. Right, so now we have a list of all our projects. We want to then be able to click on that project. That's going to take us to the link that's going to like give us information about that project. Cool. So now we need to figure out how we do the routing. So defining routes. So they have kind of like fancy diagrams here about how we do routing. I think this is where we kind of build stuff up. So it's all folder based. So we have our app. We have our page, which is our like main index page at the moment. And then we need to create like, I'm going to call this like repo / and then repo. I think that's what we're going to be doing. I think so. So we want our main page. So if I create a new folder called repo, and then inside here, it's going to be the, I think it's going to be, because it has to be like the ID of the repo, I'm assuming. If we go back to our types, repo has an ID, which I think we can get via Postman. So Lightning, you've experience with HTML, JS, and CS, mostly Python. I've done Python in the past before, mostly in like kind of university days. I thought it was a really cool language, very cool. Like you can just write things really quickly. I always got caught up with like the indentation as how it managed the code. I know that's kind of like the go-to complaint about it, but it works well like with HTML, CSS, and JS. Like the go-to there is like, you know, building like a full stack app where the Python is running your backend, and it serves up a template, and then the client does, you know, network calls to your Python server. It also seems to be really big into the world of like machine learning and AI. Like everyone seems to be jumping on Python as a solution for that, which I don't know if Python is like a really powerful language in that sense, or if it's just a case of like it's a very accessible language. So I need to go back to the GitHub API. API and get the reference for how do I get a specific repo. I'm assuming it's going to be ID based. So if we go down to repo repositories, actually I don't think we need to do that. This gives us what the link to repository looks like. So it's the name of the repository. So if I copy this link, paste it in here. Oh, I don't know what happened there. So this is the URL to that repository. If I paste it in here, hit enter. Okay, that gives me that single repository. So we know, yeah. So it's going to have to be, it's always going to be my repos. We're always going to have Chris Laughlin. And then we just need the name of the repo, because the name, I guess, is always unique. So we can use that as our page structure. So I think it's going to be repos. And then I think this, based on what I've seen with Next, it's like brackets, name, like the parameter, and .tsx, I think. So yeah, creating the right with page conventions, about page, blog page, shop. What about dynamic routing? I bet you there's a link somewhere here for dynamic routing that I'm just missing. Multiple layouts, yeah, I don't care. Dynamic segments, maybe this is it. Params. So slug, yeah, the slug. I mean, I think the slug has to be in the file name, doesn't it? Potentially. Static and dynamic rendering, data fetching, styling, optimizing, deploying, configuration. It's going to be in writing. Pages and layouts. Page, dashboard, page. Let's create a page inside here. So inside repo, we're going to create a new file called page.tsx. And we'll just copy paste this in, and this will be hello, and it's going to be drunk repo. And I assume then in here I should be able to go /repo. Okay, so that's giving me the root page of that folder, but I wanted it. What if I do /alt? Because I know that's one of my repos. It's going to be 404. So I need to then give it a nested page that does something. Pages server components, blah blah blah. Pages can fetch data. If I wanted to like direct link to the page, I have a feeling I can say new file brackets. New file bracket name close bracket dot tsx. Paste this in, and I think, where did I found slug in here. Yes, oh, so it has to be bracket and then another folder structure. So new folder bracket I'm gonna have to, right, so I'm gonna have to name this, or rename this to repos, which is, I guess we're going off the REST convention. So repos, new folder, repo, inside of square brackets, and then inside there, so we can get rid of this file, and then we move that into there. So now we have repo/repo page, and this gets params. And it's complaining that's not typed. Params is any. I have to type it. Really? Well, let me async it anyway, because I'll need async for this, and then I can say interface props, and this can be params. What are params? Params is an object. We've next config, next params, next page. Is that a type? I doubt it. We're going to take it as any for now. And then we're going to log it out. So create some brackets here. The one thing I do like about Next is they do the return. They don't do implicit returns, which always pissed me off about Create React App. That it was always very heavy on the implicit returns, because I don't like implicit returns. But it's not the end of the world, I guess. It just means less typing, and then so we go pre-code, and then inside of this pre-encode we do our double brackets, json.stringify params null 2. Prettify that, save it, and now we should be able to go repos/test. Okay, so params is just an object, and it tells you like the repo. So oh yeah, because it's parameterized. Okay, that's good. That's good. So we can now create links to that. So it's going to be repos/ and then the name of the repo. And because this is already async, we can then do const fetch repo equals a async our function. Ooh. And then this is going to say const repo data equals await brackets await fetch, and then we parameterize that URL. So we grab this dummy URL, we parameterize it. Ooh, things are just going wild over here. So we turn this into a template string. Okay, so so this now assumes that it takes in a name as a string, and then that gets replaced here. Name. So then we can say const. Oh, actually, we need to then return repo data as, and if we go back to our types, can we make use of a type? Yeah, we can make use of repo. Import that in. Conversion type was, oh, because we forgot the .json. Yeah, so we can return that as a repo type. So then in here we can say const repo data equals await fetch repo param dot write. Oh, not right. Repo. And now we'll change this with repo data. Repo data. Okay, it did not find it. Why did it not find it? Because we don't have one called test. I have one called alt. Yes. Okay, so now we're making progress. Oh, it's really cold in my home office at the minute. I have to keep turning the heating on. God, I hate this winter, and please bring back the summer. Hopefully this wine will warm the soul. So what we could do as well is make this hello drunk repo a link. Should you make a H1 a link? We will find out. It's probably not semantic and it's probably not safe. But sure, we'll find out. So we want this to go href slash. That should be a closing tag. So now this is a link. Takes us back. Okay. So now we can go back to our page, and each of these, should this be the href? You want to click on the item, not the text. But sure, we'll take this, change this to href, or an a tag. Href, and that's going to be a template literal. That's going to be slash repos slash repo.name. We could probably deconstruct this out if we want to do good coding. So yeah, in here we can say name. So now we've made some links that we can click on. And is that updated already? Yeah, there are links. God, look at the amount of crap repos I have floating about. So we click this. It takes us to the page about it. Click that, takes us home. Okay, now we have dynamic routing. We're fetching the data as and when we need it. We can deep link, so we're getting somewhere. So what other data do we have on repo? So let's go back to our types. So ID, no number, full name, private, owner for, blah, 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 blah. It should not be telling us if it's private or not, because this is a public API. I'm not authenticated, so I'm not going to get back private repos, I hope. These are all URLs, so we're going to skip past all the URL stuff, which is really useful actually for dev work, but we don't care so much. There's homepage size. So I think we could bring. I want to bring some things forward to this view, so it's not just like the name of the repo. We have Stargazer counts. This is going to be shockingly low. That's stars. Yeah, so we have Stargazer count. So let's extract that out as well. And in here we will say span stars Stargazer count. And is that going to refresh? Stars. Okay, some of them have stars. Our li can probably take, so our card can probably be a Flexbox container. So we go back to our page CSS card and we will say display flex flex direction column. Save that, see it goes. Yeah, okay, like it's not pretty. We're not making something beautiful. We're just making something functional, testing out the features of next. Now that I think about that, I think they have a link component. Linking and navigating. So they have a link component that takes a href. Import from next link, pass the href, extends the HTML, provides prefetching and client-side navigation between routes. Let's go for this. So back to our page, we're going to import the link from next, and this is going to be a link component on this side as well. I don't know why you're red. Because your components? Probably. Example, linking to dynamic components, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, similar to what we're doing, slug, blah, blah, blah. So, how does that change things for us? Still the same. Click this, fetches it. Click this, fetches it. CLI game, fetches. Okay. That was slower. Let's test this out. So that's slow. If I make that a link, is that going to be quicker? I wonder. So we go to our. Now this is where things get annoying for me. I search based on file name, so I'm used to, opening up the search panel and searching for a name. I'm going to have to go repo page instead of just repo.txt txs. I'm not gonna die on that hill, but I'm unnerved by it. And assuming just slash is the same as slash. So like this page refresh, click. It didn't feel as slow. No, okay, that's far quicker. I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, and yeah, that was so much quicker. So that link prefetching did something. So that's kind of cool. So we have that. Let's, I guess, style up the link page. Let's get a drink first. Check the chat to see if anything's going on. Lightning, if you're still there, shout out any questions. I know nothing much more about Python than basic stuff, but you got any HTML, CSS, and JavaScript questions, I could probably answer some of those. See how it goes. Is this gonna work? There we go. Right, so I'm just gonna check some of more stats while we break and we drink. But I think it's kind of cool. Like, we haven't, and this is where like the remix team will probably go mental, but we haven't had to like configure a router. We haven't had to, define routes, define the index route, all that kind of fun, let's say. But we've created a couple of folders and we've managed to build an application already. Like, and this is quite early days. Like, we still got a lot we can do here. So that's our header. Hello Drunk Repo. Then right way. Okay, so based on our pages, so we'll take something that actually has stars. Our React hooks ready. Who the fuck was starring this shit? So we have some information here. I guess we could break this out and display this in the page. Let's go back to that alley thing. See if there's any more styles we can pull it from this. But this, we're not thinking about styling. So we got a description. Okay, cool. So in here we can say div, and then we'll say h2. We'll start deconstructing. So we know this is a repo. So we can say const repo. So in here we can pull out name, description. Do we want to call it if this is a fork or not? Maybe. I'm pulling back all my repos, so we'll say fork. That's all the URLs, so we don't care about them. What is size? Is it bananas? Is it bytes, kilobytes? We have our Stargazer count, watcher count. I feel like they're the same. Okay, we could put language. Language. Has license, has projects, has blah 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 blah. Has downloads. Fork count is interesting. What else can we pull out of this? Fork count and forks. I feel like this API has existed for a long time, so there's other things going on here too. Yeah, I think that's good enough what we can pull for now. So the H2 is going to be our name. H3. Look at me doing some other HTML. It's going to be the description. Or, because it might not have a description, because I have to write the descriptions, which I usually don't. And I can't spell description off the top of my head, so we're going to say description. Description missing. Fill it out, you lazy shit. So that'll give me a reminder that I need to fill it out, and then we could probably do like a paragraph with like the rest of the stuff. So this repo has a fork count, and it's this is like language. There is HTML. Is it the main language? Because I know you can have repos that have multiple languages, and this is where our React code's ready. Like, it has a bit of JavaScript there, so, and its main language is language, so we don't need fork. Actually, no, yeah. We forget about fork. I don't care about forks. So we can save this and get rid of this section at the bottom, because we know the data structure, we have the types. Alright, ready, so blah, 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 blah. This repo has 0 force and its main language is HTML. Cool. So if I click the home, let's see, book voice search. Create goes on box. Okay, not bad. This repo has 5 forks and its main language is JavaScript. Okay, so we're building up. Now, how can we nest this deeper? Is there data that we could nest deeper? Or is there features that Next has given us? Like, okay, actually, yeah, we forgot about the loading UI. Instant loading states. So we can put a loading in when we navigate this online. We're doing a full page navigation. How are they doing? Like, I want to say outlets, because that's what React Router does. Page layouts. How do you define where it goes? Dashboard. Oh, so you created a layout. So can I create a layout in my root? I already have a layout. Renders the children, which is currently that page. So do I create a page and then a layout, or can I put more things in that layout? Root layout is required. Good to know. Nest in layouts. So I put a layout in here. I'm gonna fuck a loading UI in this folder and see, does it give me something? So if I create a new file and I call it, where is the keyboard? Oh, VS Code, you are trying me. Loading.tsx. And is that in the same folder? No, it's not. Apparently so. So loading, and here I do export default function loading, and then I do return. We're not getting into fucking HTML CNS, so we're just gonna do div loading repo repo. The default export loading is not a React component. Huh? It is. Export default function loading. Export default function loading, which is a JS element that returns a div. Because under the hood, they're just firing this in the suspense. So why is mine? Let's refresh this. So if I go home, okay, I saw that loading for a split second, so that's not too bad. If I open the DevTools, click here, click network, and if I throttle this to slow and go into, say, this repo we haven't visited before. Annoyingly, it took longer to prefetch the thing than show loading. But yeah, okay, I'll let it away with it. We'll go back to no throttle and we'll get rid of the DevTools. And then I think we can do an error, can't we? I'm really interested in the error handling, because I want to like what if someone types in a URL that doesn't exist? So what is our error? Yeah, we're gonna copy past probably this code. So that's I say I have to right click new folder here. Error.tsx. I'm gonna just copy paste this in to see what it's like, and then we can always tweak it. Why is that a folder? New file. Again, WebStorm would have created the file for me. It wouldn't have created the folder. WebStorm for life. So we're using a use effect. We're logging the error. If there's an error, something went wrong. Let's see. We're gonna jazz this up. Oh shit! You must be drunk. What does this reset function do? I'm probably gonna have to read the docs to figure it out, but interesting. There's a reset function. So back to my app. Oh, it's not it's not hot reloading quick enough. So if I change this to something that does not exist. Huh? Oh, interesting. I would have thought that would have errored. What is... Oh yeah, so this is a shell. So like, which page am I going to? I'm going to that page. This is fetching the repo data. I'm gonna say console.log repo data. I assume this is going to be in the terminal. Yeah. Yeah. Message not found. So I think I have to throw the error to do that. Or this is maybe like on caught exceptions, so I have to throw the error. Okay, yeah. If the error is thrown during fetching, blah blah blah, it will forward. Or probably if it was a client side error, it would have threw the error for me. So that's not too bad. We can deal with that. So in here, I want to say if error.message equals not found. Oh, excuse me. Not if error. Let's just if I say if repo data dot message. No, it doesn't exist on it. That's all right. It's not found. The row. Is it new error? New or throw? No, I think it's new error. And it's gonna be repo not found. Let's try that. Oh, okay. Reset error boundary. What does that do? It just tries it again. Okay, it's just like a page refresh or something like that. I'm assuming this section only appears when you're in dev mode. So let's go to error and we'll say, oh shit, you must be drunk. Repo does not exist. guess it would actually be nice to have this at the top. And actually we don't want that error button. No, it's not thrown here. Did I fat finger type something here? Awesome. API rate limits being hit for my IP. But I think we've been going, yeah, we're past there. So I think we've built something. Let's see if we can deploy this out to Vercel. I'm assuming we were going to probably hit the rate limit. Ugh, I wish I was like to tell GitHub, I'm like I'm fucking about, I'm reloading pages all the fucking time and cache the data. If I use, does React query work on the server? Potentially. Interesting, right? So let's jump back in here. So let's. I want to push this to Vercel, so I'm going to go back to the docs, and we're going to jump down to deployment, and all these links are dead. Deploying. What? Oh, okay. I think I just have to do Vercel. npx Vercel. Yes, NEX projects. Actually, I want to change the package name. Tester. Yeah, that'll do. I feel like I'm taking a domain name on. I'm taking like a subdomain on Vercel for something. Let's call it after myself, sure. Dash testing. Okay, that's better. Ooh. So let's jump back in the terminal. npx Vercel. This is going to try and deploy it. And this is taking the folder structure name anyway. What's good to deploy to? Good looking. You must know who I am. I don't have an existing project to link to. Okay, we have to so next dash 13 dash this Lachlan test. Yep, it's in the right directory or the repo. So we'll be able to push this up and get it deployed, and then kill the API from there. Undetected. You know this is an X13 project. Like, I guess you're giving me the option anyway. But, you know where it's going and what it's doing. So let's let this go. Come on. You can be quicker than that. So while it's deploying, any questions, any answers, whatever, shout out. Failed. Clear npm run build. Can I find link in error.txt? Oh, interesting. Import. Actually, VS Code, you should be able to auto import this for me. No, import, yes. Do that. This deploy. Remembered. I wonder where it stores this. Is there like a dot Vercel? Yeah, okay, this is dot Vercel folder. Projects JSON. So this is the point. Like my thoughts on Next 13, and I guess Next in general. I haven't used it a lot, so I can compare it against 12. Other than the turbo pack stuff that I didn't dig into and I didn't look into, the hot module reloading did not work a lot for me at the start, which was kind of annoying. That build failed again. Fuck you. That's a concern. It seems cool. It's quick, it's fast, it's easy to build. Should I bind in? I'm just gonna have to give that a fucking. No, this is the thing. In page.txs, which page.txs, which the one thing I'm gonna start complaining about, like, don't do it based on fucking names. So that's gonna be params is, and I guarantee there is a type for this. It's just not accessible. Like, is this let's see, next page params. Is it like it's not next router. Like, I'm going to stick any in, but it leaves a lot up to you to guess. But yeah, like my biggest concern, and I've seen people complain about, like, you end up having like a layout in every folder, an error in every folder, and then loading in every folder. I feel like I could run into these problems so easily. Like, there was this pattern before, like, I think it was like duck typing or duck type it was called, where you would have the structure of let's see if I do it new, and you would have, like components slash, did I spell components? Components slash, and then you would say button slash index dot, say, we'll stay with JS for now, and then in there you would have button dot JSX, button dot styles dot JS, and maybe button dot utils dot JS. Now that's kind of okay, that's fine, but then you end up with, drop down should have a lower d, drop down, and then it'd be drop down, drop down, drop down. Now when I search for a file, I don't use the file explorer. I'm a hacker. I search based on name, because I know, like, I know a button is probably going to be called button dot whatever, and I don't care if it lives in advanced buttons folder. I know there's a button as a button, and having these multiple index files that, yes, okay, they're just like a fucking exporter of code, they still exist. And what if I have this index.js file at the root of my folder that has, like, my initializers, my setup, my configuration, and I want to find that, and I do like / index, and it ends up giving me like 10 results. I still have to go and find that, which one it is, or I want to modify the button.index. I have to go find which button.index it is. I prefer this approach, just button / button, drop down / drop down. Yes, it's a little bit repetitive in the naming of the folder structure, but the file structure is a good indication of like where things live and where things should exist. But for me, like, you should be able to search on the file based on like the visual context of that component. You can use the React dev tools to find the component name. You can look at the component itself and should be able to know what it's called and how you can trace that back to an actual like file, and being able to like build these out. Yes, it might be repetitive, but you're not going to end up with a bunch of files that are named the same. And I think that's, don't search by the file source, search by the file name. This, error loading page is probably going to cause a lot of problems, and potentially people are going to like build some workaround, do something different. I'm curious to see how it's going to go, and this is still in beta, this is still brand new, things will change, things will advance, but I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. Great thing about, I was going to complain about the Vercel API. It pushes the stage and build first, and then you have to explicitly tell prod, which is kind of good. You don't want to push the prod accidentally, so we have a stage and build that we can probably view. Is the API dead? No. So this is now running off the Vercel IP. This will eventually run out of like not accessibility, but run out of usage. But I guess it's gonna unblock my IP. God, nobody stars my repos. My repos are all junk. So let's see that build. But yeah, that was my kind of rant about, it was great. It has flaws. These are not clear that they're links either. And when I publish this, people are going to be like, oh, how does this fucking work? I don't know if I will publish this, but we built an app that has rights, and like this shit's quick. This is talking to an API. I could probably build this in Remix. I could build it on Current React app. I wouldn't be able to hit the API on the client. I could use a Netlify function to do that. I assume this is not running on an actual node server. I assume this is every server component is its own Lambda server-side function. I think it's cool, like the dev cycle of like taking this from like a small project to a big project is really cool. Like not having to configure a router. Configuring a router is a pain in the ass. Although I'm working on a project at the minute where I dynamically generate the router based on a configuration prop and how the application is being built, so I can build the one application in multiple different ways. That could also be managed based on some sort of conditional logic around the components on the server. So I don't think it would be a big issue. I know I focused heavily on like the routing side of things, but that's the biggest push at the minute, I think. For me, once the hot module reloading worked, it was good. The startup where it wasn't working for me, it's probably just a beta issue, potentially something to do with my Mac or whatever. I think there's a lot of potential here. It seemed to be very easy to go. The file names are going to piss me off badly. Like, I'm very particular about how I write and name files, so that could be an issue. I'm curious to see where that's going and how that's going to work out. But I think as an advancement in the web, I still recommend Next.js. I gave a talk recently where like I named it as like the top tier framework and people should be using it. I wouldn't recommend jumping out and creating a Webpack config from scratch. I wouldn't say Webpack is dead. I wouldn't say Vite is dead. I wouldn't say Next and TurboPack are like the winners, and they're going to be, the standard going forward. But I would definitely try it out, see if it works for you. I would never recommend jumping to something and upgrading 2 weeks after release date. If you upgrade your production product to Next 13, you're gonna fuck something up, and you're just not. You don't care about your users. You care about your devs. Your users make you money. Care about the users. I guess on that note, we'll call it a day. Thank you for joining along. Thank you for chatting away. I know, like and subscribe. I've never figured out a way to kind of end these things, but I guess we'll do the closing screen.